All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is Coach Epps. I want to welcome you guys to the call. Today is January 7th, Tuesday. Hope everybody had an incredible holiday season. Hope everybody had an incredible new year. I know I had an awesome time being able to spend some time with some family members. But to be honest with you, I get excited when the holidays are over because everybody's excuses go out the window. Everybody's excitement goes up. People's filters are more open. So it's always a great time when you're in business this time of year because people are more open to listen. People, for some reason, have a little bit of vision. So it gives us that are in aggressive mode the opportunity to begin the year off with some exciting things happening. I know I started the year with some events. I've been all over the state already. Got some things coming up this weekend in another state. But guys, I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Yesterday really fired me up. Lisa Adams Horsley, so underrated. I tell you, she's like a jewel to me. I tell her every time I see her, but yesterday's call was incredible, absolutely incredible. Helped me get my day started, my week started. And I tell you guys, just a couple of things I'll share, and I've taken some notes I want to share with you. For me, one of the first things I did going into the new year, and I've been telling this to everybody and everywhere I go around the country, I had a mentor last year who asked me to do this exercise, and I procrastinated so long that I ended up not doing it. But it was the first thing I did going into the new year. It's already stretched me, already has me going 100 miles an hour faster than I did this time last year. But I had a mentor tell me to take some time and come up with 100 things that I wanted to accomplish this year in 2014. From a business standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from a personal standpoint, from a family standpoint, 100 things that I wanted to achieve this year. And I'll be honest with you, it was really easy for me to come up with the first 40 to 50, a little bit more difficult to get to about 65, 70. But the last 30 really stretched me far beyond what mentally where I was thinking I would go this year. My goal is to achieve each and every one of those. Actually, I added about 4 or 5 more because I thought of some other things I wanted to do. But in doing it, it gave me a sense of accomplishment to begin this year. Right at the beginning of the year, I felt that I had already accomplished something this year that I didn't do last year. And see, we just don't reward ourselves enough. We don't encourage ourselves enough. But it was an incredible exercise. It's an exercise that I'll admonish and ask each and every one of you to do. Don't stop until you finish it. Don't take forever to finish it because you won't finish it. But it's an exercise, I promise you, that will stretch you far beyond limits. It'll stretch you further than you ever thought you could go. And it'll also put some fire in you. It'll also make you say, hey, I don't have many days. It's only 300 plus days, but I got to get to work. So that was something that I did. Those are some exercises, some things that I've looked at every day this year. Today will be the 7th day that I've just read over those things, and those are in addition to my goals for the period. Those are in addition to some 90-day goals that I'll be developing as well. But those are just some things that have really stretched me to see, to open my eyes and allow me to see that I can go a lot further than I thought I could, that I could do some things that I probably never even thought about doing, from the largest things to the smallest things, from some things I could do today to some vacations I just like to take my wife on. So from the largest things, from the smallest things, I should say, to the largest things, those were things that really stretched me. And I'm telling you, it's an incredible exercise because it'll stretch you as well. But I think it'll really help you get into action mode if you aren't already moving 1,000 miles per hour. That's number one. Number two, and one of the things that I put on that list, and I put it a little bit more specific, but one of my goals this year is in our industry. So we have to get prepared first as students in order to become that teacher for those that will appear, for those that will attract, for those that will show up in our businesses. So two things that I said I would do this year. Number one was I would become the best me that I could be in 2014. Every single thing I could do to help me improve from a leadership standpoint, I would do. I've already started the year. I've read one leadership book, The Heart of a Leader by Ken Blanchard. Was the first book I read. The book that I'm working on now is Developing the Leaders Around You. That's a John C. Maxwell classic. But my goal is to just become a better me. I think there's always so much room for improvement within us, but we first have to accept the fact that we're not as good as we need to be. We're not as bad we used to be, but we're not as good as we need to be. We can always be better. There are always things that we can do every single day, every single minute, and every single day that will allow us to become better leaders. So that was kind of sub A. Sub B, one thing I understand too is in order to get better, I have to be attached to good people. I have to be attached to some people who are going to allow me or stretch me or force me, either way you look at it, some people that are going to put me in a position to make myself become better. One thing that I don't think, one word we use so loosely in our industry is the word mentor. We all talk about such and such is my mentor. Such and such is my mentor. But do we truly have a mentor-mentee relationship with individuals? Are certain individuals allowing us or forcing us to get better? Are they doing the necessary things that we need from them? Because the word sounds good. We know it's great to have people that we learn from, but most of the time when we use that phrase, we use it so loosely because we pick and choose the things that we want to learn from certain people. In reading John Maxwell's Developing the Leader Around You, he outlined some guidelines. He gave some guidelines, some things that I thought were great. You know how when you're reading a book and you highlight some things and you go back and read it again and then you highlight it again and again and again. These guidelines were just those things for me because I know this year I have to further strengthen some mentor-mentee relationships in order for me to get better. I have to give in to go up. I have to do some things different when it comes to the people that I'm learning from in order to make sure that I'm following the necessary guidelines. I'm getting what I need to get out of the relationships, but therefore the relationships are strengthening me to take me and force me to go where it is I want to go. So a couple of notes I took. These things you can find or in a similar form. These are kind of Coach Epps' form, but the outline of these you can find in John Maxwell's Developing the Leader Around You. If you're looking for leadership books, we know any John Maxwell book, because he's the leadership king, any John Maxwell book is good. But this is the current book that I'm reading right now. And these are just some notes I took. Like I said, in Coach Epps' form, don't quote these because you'll be plagiarizing, but these are just some notes I took from his outline on guidelines for developing a relationship with your mentor. And understand that from today forward, when you use the term mentor, if your relationship doesn't meet these things, you're missing out. Like I said, in our industry, we use that word so loosely that sometimes I didn't even, after reading this, I didn't even know the things or criteria that I should look for in a person that I call a mentor. But when we know better, we do better. So now I know better. And guess what? I'm going to do better. All right? Just a couple things, a couple of notes. I took, only got about 10, 15 more minutes, and then we'll go. And these are guidelines for your relationships in finding a mentor. Hopefully everybody will take heed. Hopefully everybody will lock arms with somebody or multiple somebodies and allow these guidelines to build that relationship and allow that relationship to build you. The first thing he said was once we choose the person that we want to lead us, we have to one-on-one with that person, whether phone, whether face-to-face, and just simply ask the right questions. Make strategic questions, ask questions about that person, kind of like an interview process to find out if this person really has what you need to take you to the level we want to go. I know in this industry, sometimes we might like a person the way they dress. We might like a person the way they look, how articulate they may be, and we'll just simply use the term mentor for that person, and we really haven't given them guidelines. We really haven't interviewed that person to see if that person is what you're looking for, or if that person has what you need that's going to take you to the next level. So first things first, upon choosing a mentor, put together a plethora of questions that you can ask this individual to basically find out in an interview type form if this person, he or she, is going to be the right person for you when it comes to being your mentor. The next thing he said was we should clarify our level of expectations with this mentor. The goal of a mentoring is actually improvement, not perfection, but just improvement. But how many times when we choose a mentor do we let that mentor know what we expect of ourselves? Because, see, the goal of a mentor is to stretch you. But if that mentor doesn't know what you expect of yourself, how does he or she, or how will he or she know what to put on you, what type of guidelines to put on you, how far they can go? Because some of us are just too sensitive. Some of us don't work well with certain people. And in order for us or them to know that, they have to know what our own personal level of expectations are. I thought that was big. Because, see, we'll try to work with anybody. Like I said, we'll throw a term or phrase or whatever it is, title on anybody. And they really don't know. We turn people into our mentors, and they don't even know they're mentoring us a lot of times. But it's great in order to be able to clarify what we expect of ourselves. All right? The third thing he said was accept a subordinate level, a.k.a. a position of learning. And I thought this was big, too, because, see, some of us, all of us have a slight piece of an ego problem. And if you're truly mentoring from somebody, we have to know going in that we're learning. We're here to learn from a person, so our feelings can't get hurt. We have to put our feelings in our pockets and give this particular individual the okay to tell it like it is. See, some of us aren't growing simply because of our egos getting in the way and not allowing us to learn the things that we need to learn from certain individuals that we call our mentors. See, we'll call them mentors when it's comfortable for us. We'll take what they say when it works for us, but as soon as they say something that offends us or something that really hits home but we don't want to hear it, then the relationship is out the door. So see, if we truly are being mentored by an individual, we can't pick and choose what we want to hear. We can't pick and choose what we want to take. We can't pick and choose what we want from the relationship because, see, everything is there to help us grow. Everything there is there to help grow us. So we have to just take play the role of a subordinate, take the role of the student, and understand that we're in this relationship to be taught. We're in this relationship to learn. Therefore, we should take that role. I thought that was big as well because, see, ego, somebody told me years ago, stood for edging God out. Now, your mentor is not God, but understand you just have to put your pride and your ego in your pocket. All right? Next thing he said, respect the mentor, but don't idolize him or her. That was big as well. He said, because respect allows us to accept what a mentor is teaching, but making the mentor an idol removes the ability to be objective and critical. How big is this? Because it's so easy, once again, to call somebody that we idolize a mentor, therefore putting us in a position basically to miss out on a lot of things that could be teaching moments because we're so starstruck by the people that we're calling mentors. Once again, in our industry, it happens all the time. Maybe it's the way a person dresses. Maybe it's the way they carry themselves. Maybe it's the way you see them speak on stage. Maybe it's just that, that influence they have over crowds when you see them speak. And a lot of times, people that we're calling mentors, we're idolizing and not simply just respecting. When it comes to this type of relationship, we know that we should be, now we know, that we should be in respect mode and not idolizing the people that we're supposedly learning from, because idolization causes us to basically miss the things that are there to put us in the position where we're looking to go. Don't idolize him or her. Respect them. All right? I thought that was big as well. I think all this stuff is big. All right. Now, the next thing I wrote, John Maxwell, that was big. He said, immediately put into effect what you are learning. I was sharing with a group this weekend down in Montgomery, and one thing I told them that I used to be so guilty of. I used to be able to go to an event, sit in the audience, take incredible notes, get some things from that training or whatever the event I was at, and some things that would just excite me when I was writing them down. But then I would go home and never open my notebook again. Never go back to the things that I'd been taught that particular day. I won't say never, but at the time, not go back to the things that I had been taught. And guys, what we have to understand is every single thing that we're learning, every single thing, every single trait, every single quality that we pick up from our relationships with our mentors, we need to put them into effect ASAP. Go ahead and go through whatever it is, release whatever the fears are, but understand in the best mentoring relationships, what is learned comes quickly into focus. John Maxwell said we should learn, practice, and then assimilate. Once again, he said we should learn, practice, and then assimilate. I think in our industry, we do so much learning, but how many times do we practice? I think we feel like we ought to learn and then go straight into action. Whatever we learn ought to work. We never really think about practicing. I heard Lisa Adams Horsley say, when you do something, do it. Mess up, guess what? Do it again. Do something, you do a bad job of it, guess what? Go do it again. She said she used to do presentations. They weren't that good, but guess what? She got up and she did it again. She did calls. They weren't that good. Nobody wanted to hear it. She didn't want to hear herself, but guess what? She did it again. We have to understand that in our industry, we never lose. We always learn. So don't be afraid to practice. Sometimes I pick up the phone and call people and say, listen, when I shared this information with you a year or so ago, I shared it the wrong way. I apologize. Let me get you some info so you can take a better look. It's okay to let people know that you are practicing. In our industry, the only way we get better is to be bad first. You'll never go from bad to good. You'll go from bad to pretty good to great. You'll never go from bad to great. I'm sorry. You go from bad, you're bad before you're good before you're great. But the only way we get there is to put into action the things that we're being taught. Once again, I thought that was big. Just remember this: learn, practice, and assimilate. Learn, practice, and assimilate. Next thing, I got a couple more things, and then we'll end the call. The next topic, I should say, the next thing I wrote down from those notes said that we should be disciplined in relating to the mentor. And then I went further to write, arrange for ample and consistent time, select the subject matter in advance, and do your homework to make your sessions with your mentor profitable. And this was big once again, because once we start to develop the relationship, once we understand that we're in a teacher-student type relationship, there should be time set aside to be taught. I think once again in our industry, we call people our mentors, but how many times are we really setting aside teacher-student sessions? How many times are we putting these type of things in our schedules to make sure we're being graded on what we do, to make sure the things that we are doing are being reviewed, to make sure that we're to be held accountable? Basically, that's what I want to say. How many times are we putting ourselves in position to be held accountable? I was telling a group this weekend that, so many times in our industry, a lot of us get unfocused because we don't have those people in our circles that hold us accountable. We have those people that make us feel warm and fuzzy. We have those people that we can basically lie to and tell them our business is going incredible. But how many people do we have in our circles that are going to force us to keep moving? How many people do we have in our circles that are going to tell us the things that we really just don't want to hear? How many people do we have around us that are going to push us and not just cuddle with us? You know what I'm saying? How many people, not really cuddle, don't do that, but how many people really do we have around us that are going to force us to get better? See, in our industry, it's so easy to show up at a presentation, to dress good, smile good, make everybody think everything is going incredible, then you can get home and do absolutely nothing. But see, in order for us to excel, we need people around us that are basically going to kick our butts when we're not getting the things done and we're looking to do. We need to be those same types of people, but we need to have people around us that are doing the exact same things. All right? 2 more things, and then I'm done. We should reward our mentors with our own progress. This was big because he went further to say, if we show appreciation but make no progress, the mentor then experiences failure. So see, honestly, if we're truly being mentored by those that we've given this title, a true mentor feels he or she has a job to do when it comes to helping you and I get to the next level. And if we're not showing progress to that mentor, then that mentor experiences failure. So see, it's not just on us to go out and input what's being taught or what's being applied or what somebody is teaching in our lives. We too have to take those things and show some sort of progress so that that mentor is appreciated for what he or she is doing for us, so that that mentor continues to be a mentor, not just for us, but to be a mentor for others, because now he or she knows what he or she is doing is effective. Our progress is the highest reward that any mentor can have, because he understands that his communication is working. He understands that his leadership traits and things that he has taught us, he or she has taught us, is working. And it's the largest reward that we can give. And then last but not least, and I'll open the call, he said, don't ever threaten your mentor that you'll give up. Don't ever threaten your mentor that you may quit. Right up front, John Maxwell says we have to let our mentors know that we're making a decision to go forward, regardless of how it goes, regardless of how we feel, but we will never, ever give up. He said there's no substitute for our personal growth, and if we're not receiving and growing, we will not be able to give people that we nurture what they need, and we'll never be able to develop the people around us and give them what they need. He said letting your mentor know that you're sold out, letting your mentor know that quitting is not an option, basically lets he or she know that they are not wasting their time. Have you ever think about this industry? And it happens all the time. How many times have you led certain individuals to a certain place in the business? You think they're going to go to the end. You think they're going to ride it till the wheels fall off, and before you know it, they quit. Think of the feeling. I know it's happened to me over the years, hundreds of times probably, but think of the feeling that you have as a mentor when that person you've given your heart, your soul to, that person you just sold out, made so many sacrifices for, one day you look up and that person's not around anymore. So see, what we have to do is never put that feeling that we have when it's happened to us, never voluntarily put it on somebody else. Quitting is not an option. Voice your commitment, voice your dedication from day one, but let those know that'll be teaching you. Let them know that you're in it to win it. Let them know you will until. Let them know nothing around them, nothing around you will ever force you to quit. And guys, have with that mentor will be absolutely incredible. John Maxwell said, we got to build trust. And to him, trust was an acronym. The T stood for time, the R stood for respect, the U stood for unconditional positive regard, the S stood for sensitivity, and the T stood for touch. Build the trust of those around you. Guys, let's all commit and continue to become better leaders. This industry is about leadership. Those with the biggest checks are the best leaders usually. But in order to grow and attract large organizations, all of us have to become incredible leaders. So that's my time this morning. If there's anybody, I know events are going on. This is Cycle 4. A lot of people still dashing the diamond. I know there are a lot of events going on around the country, a lot of things happening. But if there's anybody on the speak line, on the moderator line that has an event you guys want to promote before we end the call, now's the time to do so.
Hey, Coach, this is Dave Albini. First of all, I want to thank you. I've got nothing but mad respect for you, sir. Also, I want to give credit to Lisa also. She did a phenomenal job. She put me into action yesterday, and I started with the small things and went forward. Also, I want to let everybody know in Sacramento, California, on the event center this Saturday, we are launching, actually pre-launching the pre-launch, but we are launching Sacramento. Check your event center and be there. Put some people there. We're going to have some spectacular speakers. Thank you very much, Coach. Have a blessed day.
You too, my man. Appreciate you. Happy New Year. Look forward to seeing you soon. Anybody else? All right. Well, guys, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Everybody have an incredible day, and we'll see you over the top. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year over the top. Dave, I'll do it.
Same to you. Coach Isaac Wright, Santa Rosa, California. Have a blessed day.
Debbie Callahan, Las Vegas, Nevada. Great call, Coach.
Austin, Texas.
Marquito, Birmingham.
Great call, Coach. Dr. Kirby.
Great call, Coach.
Ron Clayton.